My name is Melody. This is Billy, my Ford Transit that I converted myself. I live in it full time, and right now we are parked in Baja, Mexico, and I'm gonna give you a little tour. So come on in. Okay, we're gonna start with the outside table, which I just installed last week. I love it. I've been wanting to have something outside to be able to put my coffee on in the mornings, and it's just a super simple chain and Baltic birch operation. Over here is where I put in my water. So that's my fill, and then this is my water meter right here, and then this is a vent for the fridge. It's on the inside on the opposite side here. Underneath here, I've got a little section for my my hose, which is nice to tuck that away. And then this is the drain for my water tank should I ever need to clear it or rinse my feet off outside. So this is what I lovingly refer to as the nook. It's my living space, it's my workspace, it's my hang space. And when I was designing the space, something that came up often and what I really wanted in a home was a place to just hang out. So this was the result of that. We've got this cushion that I got off of Etsy for the exact size of the bench, which is amazing. It also converts into a spare bed, which is really important because I love having friends with me on the road. Down here I've got just a little space for my blankets and shoes. And then underneath here, last but not least, is the facilities. And so that can just tuck right away and you never have to think about it until you need to. So these upper cabinets are just pure storage for me. And I also unlock them with a magnetic lock that I just got off of Amazon. Shout out to my friend Matt who told me about them. All of this is just all of my electronic equipment, my camera, laptop, all that stuff. And I made these rattan faces with my dad and it turned out pretty well. Really, really aesthetic. I freaking love it. It also, I like that it just brings in a warm tone to the house. And then over here is just excess storage for my kitchen. So I keep my pots in here, my always pan, because the internet does its job correctly. And yeah, just any kind of overflow on kitchen materials that I might need. And then these two pieces of art are from a graphic designer named Sam Larson. He did a whole series on women in the outdoors and I just loved it because it's kind of my whole vibe. The back of this wall right here is 3/4 inch shiplap. Most of the walls on here are shiplap. And I have to brag on this because it took me about an hour of my life. This curve is just a thing of beauty. And when you do your own builds, you get to know every single inch of your entire house. And that one is one of my absolute favorites. This just took hours of sanding. So I had to show. So up front for extra storage, I have this headliner shelf. I bought the plane off of a website, which the name I can't remember right now, but it comes with two little attachments on the side too that you just screw into your headliner. It also has a CAD drawing of this top shelf, so you don't have to fuss with measuring or sanding or anything like that to get it the right fit. It's a one and done and it saves so much time. And then up here, obviously I've got some sanding and painting to do, but I normally keep my outside lights, all of my different window coverings that I got from Van Made Gear. They're insulated, they're wonderful. It's completely changed how I live in the van too. And my Garmin InReach Mini just for safety that I keep up here. But it's great for extra storage, super love it. And around the side of my bench right here, I have a Lagoon mount for my standing desk, and that's how I usually work. You put it right here, it can go into the seat, it can come out like this. I just work way better when I'm standing up too, so that was important for me to have a space to be able to stretch out when I am working or when I'm creating or something like that. So this just sits behind the driver's side door or driver's side seat, and then we can tuck it away when we need to. So on the road, I work as a contractor. So I work for a couple different tech companies. I'm a content strategist and a copywriter. I've been working in tech for about 10 years, and it is definitely a blessing to be able to generate income on the road. I know a lot of people are looking for ways to take their work remote. I realized that I had the opportunity to kind of build this house out, go on the road. It's been something I've been thinking about doing for forever. And so I just took the chance, jumped off the cliff, sold all my stuff, and bought the van. Working remotely has been really, really awesome, and obviously I feel very lucky to be able to do it. It's also very interesting too because it can kind of take you out of the moment, but you have to have money to live, so that's how I make mine. This is the kitchen. It was kind of the last bit to come together in the van, so that makes me appreciate it even more. Back here is a super deep sink, and that was a priority of mine because I don't like doing dishes every single day. So a cover for the sink was on the tippy top of the list, and we accomplished that. I chose a golden faucet just so it would match all the handles and kind of trim pieces that I have here. I thought it might be too glitzy, too glammy. That's not me, but it actually turned out pretty well. And then up here was, it's a drop-in 2-burner Dometic cooktop. It's nice because you can kind of take your cutting board, slide it over if you want more space. It does come, or you can order a glass covering for it. I just haven't yet. And this took 7 to 8 months to receive. So putting it in was a bit of joy, and I'm really excited that I can now cook on a cooktop that's fixed instead of just using my, my backpacking cooktop, which is what I was doing for close to a year. Underneath here is my fridge. It's a Coolmatic CRX 80. It's a marine fridge, so it's nice. It has a really tight lock on it, so it has never flown open. Knock on all the wood while I'm driving. Above the fridge, I actually have a removable front here. It's just on magnets in case it's super hot outside and my fridge needs to vent out a little bit more. It also, behind there, contains a fuse box for most of the switches and outlets on the right-hand side of my van. So I kind of had it pulled back here, and then my stepdad had the incredible idea to move right here. So it's a little bit more accessible, and you can't even tell when you stick this top on. Behind there is probably my favorite drawer in the entire place. It's a pull-out slot drawer. It is where I keep all of my glasses, all of my cooking materials. It's just the maximum amount of storage that you can get in here, and I am so thrilled. That was a very recent addition, and it changes everything about how I organize my life. I do keep glass in the van. I know that's something that not a lot of people do, but I like it to feel like a home. I like to have a glass of wine, like a literal glass of wine, and I put non-stick mat at the bottom of this so they don't rattle around. I put coasters in between them, and I have not had an incident yet. So yeah, don't be afraid to shake stuff up if you would like nice things in your van. It's your home, so do what you need to do. So underneath my sink, I have access to my gray water, which is a 4-gallon tank, and then a 20-gallon over-the-wheel well water tank. I got it from Northwest Customs. It's a great space saver back in the garage area, which you'll see. I also keep the propane for my cooktop back here, and then just a bunch of regular cleaning supplies and, some odds and ends. So it's a true under-the-counter situation. The backsplash for the kitchen is just sticky tiles. I got it off of Etsy. I think they were a little gnarly to put up and to match up, but I think the effect is really, really nice. It's also really easy to clean, which was a goal. Up here is just my pantry area. Right now it's packed full of amazing food that we got at the local Mexican market, tortillas and all the spices you could possibly imagine. It looks precariously stacked, but this just closes with the exact same lock as my other ones, and it stays most of the time while I'm driving. But yeah, it's just nice and tall and deep, and so it's pretty great. You can store a whole lot of stuff up there. So before I was in the van, I lived in my SUV for 7 months. The pandemic had just hit. I was looking for a way to kind of be away from people and be out in nature in a super safe and also just a very economical way. So I took the car that I already had. My parents helped me build a platform in it, and I was just out on the road to, I think, every state in the West for about 7 months. And I loved that so much. And I knew that I would, but I wanted to prove it to myself. But I loved it so much that I ended up selling everything and getting the van. So this is the closet that I built into my van. Something that's important to me is just being able to get dressed every day. You don't really feel like you're camping. You feel like you actually, can get ready for the day. So it was important to me to have a full-length closet in here. So figuring this out was a really fun problem to solve. I knew I definitely wanted a space for hanging clothes, and I also wanted as much drawer space as possible, just so that I could not really skimp on what I wanted to bring. So this upper section is just the standard height for hanging tops, and then under here are actually stacked alpha shelves. You could not possibly fit 5 actual built drawers within this section, so I ended up going to the Container Store and checking out their alpha shelves, and this gives me room to stack 5 drawers, which are super deep. They're kind of on just 1/2-inch routed wood pieces instead of their standard runners for the sides, so it fits the space perfectly, and I can have so much stuff with me, which really makes it easy to get dressed in the morning and feel like a usual human. And then up top, I just have a bunch of different washcloths and my contacts and different toiletries, and it all just stacks in this perfect compressible space. And then just to check your face in the morning, this was a cute little find that I found on Amazon. It's just a little fold down mirror that has a bunch of different light settings in it. So I can wash my face, brush my teeth, do the whole nine. It's kind of been nice not having a full length mirror in the van, just because it keeps you focused on the right stuff and not what you look like all the time, which I genuinely love. So if you have been inside of a van or built a Transit particularly, you know that this part of the door is just Swiss cheese. It's a bunch of metal, a bunch of holes. So I decided to cover this up with cork so I could have a place for photos, for all the stickers that you accumulate as you travel around, a bunch of different hooks that hang directly onto the metal here for my plants, for my keys, for a bunch of stuff too. So yeah, I just took cork, I put some construction glue on the back of it, and then spray painted the front to match the rest. And now I'm building it out with a bunch of different photos and Polaroids and little moments throughout the year. Through all the travels that I had last year, this was completely filled, and then January 1 happened and I was sitting in here and I realized I need to restart every single year fresh. So I took everything out, and then this is how we're slowly building this year. We've got some Mexico pictures, we've got some New Year's pictures, and then some, you know, the stickers that inevitably accumulate. Being a solo woman on the road is a trip. It's super empowering. It can be very lonely, but ultimately it's one of the most empowering things that I've ever done. You learn how to problem solve by yourself completely, which growing up in a big family and having just a series of really lovely but very long monogamous relationships, I didn't really know if I could, and I wanted to prove it to myself. And it turns out I can. But yeah, it's been lovely. I think I know myself a lot more. I also just am so proud of the life that I've built that every single day is just like I wake up stoked. So this is the bedroom area. It is a full-size bed, metal to metal, so I think it's like 72, 73 inches. I'm only 5'6", so this works perfectly for me. I've got a little backsplash up here that has two reading lights kind of behind, but to be honest, I use them mostly for hat hooks. Right above the bed, we've got a Max air fan. It's one of the newer models that you can have open during in the rain, so it's nice for constant airflow, which I definitely wanted over the bed area. I also have a window here and then also at the head so that you can get constant airflow, and that's been really, really nice and really hot nights. And just, you know, nights where you just want it to be a little bit more breezy. The mattress is a 5-inch foam mattress, and that's been absolutely lovely. And then recently I just added another 2-inch foam topper on top of it, and so it's like a palace up here. I'm obsessed. Get a great night's sleep every single night, and yeah, it's been really, really, really nice. So at the foot of the bed here, I've got a bookshelf because I love bringing books around with me. I'm a constant rereader of a ton of different books, so I have all of my favorites with me, and then I intended to have room to grow, but apparently that's just not going to happen. I'll just keep shoving books back there. It's a bunch of feminist lit books. It's got a bunch of different inspiration books, 500 drawing prompts, 600 things to write about. Keeps me creative in the mornings, and I just love the look of it as well. Over here I've got an entire section for crafts because I love crafts, my Polaroid, just some like sketch paper, and then back here is just overflow, clearly as you can see, for jackets. I used to live in San Francisco, and so I over-index on how many jackets I own, and I apparently can't downsize that yet, so this is valuable real estate being taken up by puffies. The lights around here are just warm 110 bulbs. I just wanted some kind of ambiance back here as well as greenery. This is fake, by the way. Up above here too are just the recessed lighting that runs through the entire cab. 2700 is the warmth on them just because I'm a sucker for warm light and I wanted that to be throughout the whole van. So yeah, it's really cozy back here, and I really do actually like the fact that it seems like a bedroom because I very purposefully kind of separated the living area and then back here with the closet, and then again this backsplash for the kitchen. So this is my little bedroom. So underneath this big bed is one of my favorite spots, which is the garage area where I house all of my toys. So let's go look at that. On the road, I photograph, I write, I do some contract work for tech companies, and I have a lot of fun things that I want to do this year. I'm taking a wilderness first responder course. I'd really love to get into guiding. in the outdoor space, or just kind of showing people how awesome it is outside. I think the pandemic really got people outdoors, which is amazing, and there's a whole other slew of knowledge that you should have when you're going outside, which is just how to care for this earth. I want to help people take care of it the best they can. So I'm getting certified by Leave No Trace to be able to educate on Leave No Trace principles, and I'm getting my pilot's license in June in Alaska, which I can't even tell you how excited I am for it. Just being able to go out into remote places and see things and preserve nature is something that's super important to me. Welcome to the garage. I'm a total fun hog, so I needed the most amount of space for all of the gear. So I made sure to build this tall enough for my bike, and then the bedroom area tall enough for me to be able to sit up in with bun height, because when you live in a van, well, my hair is up in a bun like 90% of the time. Back here, there's plenty of room. I actually kind of cleaned it out for the Mexico trip, so I could put some things in here that I will need more, like my sup, flippers for everything. I'm actually housing a friend's sup in here as well too, so there's just tons of space, which I love. Over here, it houses my entire electrical system. So in there, I've got a 2,000 watt inverter. I have 300 amp hours of batteries, and on the top, I have almost close to 400 watts of solar. It does me just fine. It's just me. But I work full time. Zoom calls really pulls the battery out of your computer, and as such, you're just using more power. So 300 amp hours seemed like overkill for me, but actually it turns out to be just perfect. In the back here for safety, I've got a fire extinguisher that's mounted right here. Underneath here, I also have a carbon monoxide detector and a smoke detector, just purely for safety. You want to make sure that all of your systems are not gonna kill you. Over here is a 22-gallon water tank from Northwest Customs. It fits over the wheel well, which really gives you a lot of space to play with in your garage, which was important to me. I wanted to make sure I had the most amount of space for all of the gear. So that's right there. And then I have my water pump and my entire system that's right behind that, all closed off and tight so that nothing runs into it. And I have a retractable ladder here because along with the solar on the roof, I have a pretty sweet deck that I built just to be able to get above everything, get a better vantage point. And when you're at the beach, it's really nice to hang out on. And that is the underbed garage space. So building this van was really a team effort. I have to give a huge shout out and immense thanks to my parents, both sets of them, who helped me do the inside. They helped me finish it up, and then just all of my friends who cheered me all along the way. It would not have gotten done without any of them. If you want to follow along with what I'm up to, I'm online like everybody else. I'm at MELSKYBURD, Melsky Bird, on Instagram. Thank you, Tiny Home Tours, for filming my house. I love living this life, so I'll see you out there.